Hello everyone. This video will demonstrate how to control headings in bibliographic records in WorldShare Record Manager Fundamentals. Controlling headings links names, series, and subject headings in bibliographic records to matching authority records if available. One advantage of doing this is that if the authority record changes, the linked heading in the WorldCat bibliographic record is updated automatically. You can use control headings when you're doing original cataloging and when editing existing WorldCat records if you edit or add headings, or if you come across a WorldCat record in which the headings are not controlled. To retain the control in the WorldCat record, you need to replace the WorldCat record after controlling headings. When viewing a bibliographic record, you'll find Replace on the Save menu. For more information on Replace, see Guidelines for Experts and Chapter 5 of Bibliographic Formats and Standards. In Record Manager Fundamentals, you can use Control All headings, which you'll find on the Record menu. But at times, you may also need to control a single heading. To control a single heading, you can click on the heading in the record, and then you can either go to the Edit menu and select Controlled Heading Add, or you can right-click on the heading and select Controlled Heading and then Add. In addition to the Library of Congress names and subject authority files, there are several other authority files available in Record Manager for those libraries who use them. We will just focus on the LC headings in this video. Control Headings is available for name headings from the Library of Congress authority file, subjects from the Library of Congress subject headings, genre headings from Library of Congress genre and forms terms, and series headings from the LC authority file. Note that to link names to the LC names authority file, 040 subfield B, that is the language of cataloging, must be English, ENG. So let's take a look at how to control these headings in Record Manager. So the record I have on the screen has a number of headings in it, and if I scroll down, we'll see that there are Library of Congress subject headings. Here are two of them here. And then I also have two 700s here for name headings. So to control these headings, I'm first going to go to the Record menu to try to control all. So I'm selecting Record and then Control All Headings. And the system responds. Some of the controlled headings match cross-references. Some of the controllable headings were controlled. Some of the controllable headings were not controlled. I can see that my two subject headings here were both controlled. However, the second one, Music Theory, was actually Musical Theory previously. So I'm going to click on the link here to view the authority record. And we can see Music Theory in the authority record as a 150, so that's the valid form of the heading. And below that, I see Musical Theory in a 450, which is a C reference. And so the system was able to flip the heading in the bib record to the valid form of the heading, Music Theory, and at the same time, it controlled the heading to the authority record. I can also see that for the names, the first one, Montiel, Mariana, was not controlled. The second name, Francisco Gomez, was controlled. So I'm going to click on that name. And again, it opens the authority record. And we can see the name as it appears in the bibliographic record here as a 100 in the authority record. So I'll close that. The other name, Mariana Montiel, was not controlled when I used Control All Headings because it is an unqualified personal name, meaning that it has only a subfield A. There is no subfield D with dates and no subfield Q with a fuller form of the name. But this doesn't necessarily mean that there is not an authority record for the name. For an unqualified personal name, you just need to view the authority record if there is one and confirm that it's the correct record before it is linked to the name in the bib record. And so you do have to control this as a single heading. So if I go to that field and then right-click and select Controlled Heading Add, you would see a list of possible matches. In this case, there is only one. I can click on the name to view the authority record, and I can see in the 100, there is the name, and it is the same as it appears in my bib record. And I can tell from some of the 300 fields and maybe from the scope notes, I can tell that the subject matter is the same as the author in my record. So I know this is the correct authority record. So I'll close that and click on Insert Heading. And now the heading is linked to its authority record. Now let's say I want to add a subdivision to the subject heading Music Theory. To edit a controlled heading, you'll first need to uncontrol it. So I'm going to click in the text box and right-click and then go to Controlled Heading Remove. And I'll add the subdivision Mathematics. And then I'll right-click again, Controlled Heading, and select Add to control that heading again to its authority record. For some libraries that may want to add headings from more than one authority file, you can enable an option in User Preferences to add equivalent subject headings automatically when you control all headings. Or you can do this record by selecting Add Equivalent Subject Headings from the Record menu after you have controlled, for example, the LC headings. To enable this option, you would go to User Preferences, and then under Working with Records, I would select Add Equivalent Subject Headings. If you don't select it, as I said, you would still be able to do this record by record after you have controlled headings. So I'm going to leave it unselected. And I'm going to go back to our record by clicking on it over here on the left navigation. And you can see now I've got controlled LC headings. So I'm going to go to the record menu and select Add Equivalent Subject Headings. And now you can see the system has added the 650 second indicator 6 to headings here. And these are the RVM headings for the French subjects. And if I click on one of these headings, you can see this opens the authority record from the RVM authority file. And the heading again is there in the 150 field. Now remember, to retain the controlled headings links in the WorldCat record, I would need to go to the Save menu and select Replace Bibliographic Record. Auto-suggest LC and/or Canadiana names can also be enabled in User Preferences. 040 subfield B must be ENG for English for Library of Congress names, and 040 subfield B must be FRE for French for Canadiana names. Names would be suggested when the 1XX fields or 7XX fields or 8XX fields and or 830 field is blank or an existing name heading is uncontrolled. So going back to User Preferences and working with records, under the section for Control Headings, here is the option to automatically suggest authority headings, and you can select Canadiana names or Library of Congress names or both. I'm going to select Library of Congress names, and then I'm going to go to the top and click on Save to save the change in my preferences. So now that I have enabled Auto-Suggest LC names, here I have a record that is in the language of cataloging English, and you can see the 040 subfield B does say ENG. And if I scroll down, you can see there are two names that are not controlled, so I should be able to control these names to the Library of Congress name authority file. If I click in the field for that name, I'll click in Joshua Bell. The system automatically suggests the authority name here, and all I have to do is click on it to select it. And you can see now the heading is controlled. And I'll do the same thing for the name below that for Jeremy Dank. I can click on it to go to the authority record. And I want to look at the authority record. And here is the heading as I have it in my bib record. And I can tell from the 3XX fields, 374 for example, that says pianist, and also from the 670 scope notes that this is the correct name. So I'll close that, and then I just click on Insert Heading. Now, another thing you can do is you can add relator terms or relator codes to controlled headings. So for example, I could click on the arrow next to the name, and then I can select the subfield. I'm going to select relator term, and then I can just start typing or scroll to find the term. I'm going to find the term pianist, and then select it, and then I'll click on Done to save that. Auto-suggest will also work when adding a new name to an existing record or a work form. So I'll start to create a new record. So I'll click Create Record over on the left, and then I'll use the material type template book, and I'll click Create. And notice my 040 has a blank subfield B. So if I'm going to use auto-suggest LC names, this does have to be English. So I'm typing in here ENG. So I'll scroll down, and let's say I'm going to add a 700 field here. I'll add a name, and I'm just going to tab over and start typing the name. And again, I'm going to type Bell, Joshua. And you can see in the auto suggest list below, there's Bell, Joshua 1967, which I know is the correct name that I want. So I just simply select it, and it is controlled to the authority record now. If you have questions or need additional help, please visit help.oclc.org for documentation, training, and contact information for OCLC support in your region.